Hello. I realized I haven't really done like a life update video at all since announcing my divorce. So it's probably time to do one of those videos. And just so you guys know, talking about my divorce makes me super uncomfortable, which is why I'll continuously look away as I'm doing right now. For all of you body language experts out there, it's hard to talk about. Obviously, you know, I'm still not going to be giving away details or sharing anything that I'm not comfortable in sharing. But I think as a whole, it's a hard subject to talk about. I've been met with so much support from you guys, but then I've also been met with a ton of judgment as well. And it sucks when you can't really tell your side of the story, or you can't openly share your perspective of things, because then it allows other people to kind of assume that they know what happened. But I read this quote a while back and it said something like, silence is like the best gift you could give yourself sometimes, or something like that. I'm not saying it exact, but it was basically saying that like sometimes silence is the most powerful thing. You don't have to tell your side of the story. You don't have to share what happened. You can remain silent, and there's still power in that because you know your story and you know what you've been through, and only you can make the decisions for your life. And so, you know, I used to be that person who judged other people for getting divorced. And then I grew up and I realized that life happens. Relationships change, relationships end. We grow, we evolve, and it's okay. Not everything is meant to stay forever. So honestly, I don't put that shame and guilt on myself. And when others do, I obviously just don't appreciate it at all. It's an automatic block for me. But being vulnerable and sharing this part of my life is a little bit challenging because of that. So it's just hard to make content about the divorce in general. But this isn't really like a divorce video. This is just like a life update in general. The number one question I've been getting is, how are you doing? How are you feeling? That's a great question. I wish I knew that. No, but seriously, sometimes I have a hard time like pinpointing how I'm feeling that day. An exercise that I do with my therapist often is she'll give me like the wheel of emotions, and then I have to say how I'm feeling in that moment. I have to give her like 3 different emotions. And sometimes I have to stare at that chart for a good 3 minutes before I can decide how I'm feeling. Because there's what we're feeling versus how we think we should be feeling. I know you guys understand that. I know that you get that. I don't really know how I'm doing. Some days are hard, some days are great. Some days I'm free, some days I'm sad. Some days I'm happy, some days I'm depressed. I mean, life is a roller coaster of emotions, and you think that I'd be getting used to it a little bit more, but you know, it's been 5.5 months since I left, and this is still the beginning. I know that. And I'm realizing that there's all of these new emotions surfacing and coming out of nowhere, and I'm just like, hello to you, hello to you. Sometimes my own emotions surprise me. Like I'll just be sitting there, fine, minding my own business, and I'll just start bawling. And I just have to feel it to heal it. Just let it run through, let the tears come out, do the crying. I've been very open with you guys on Instagram. I've shown you some of those crying sessions. If you haven't seen it or you don't have Instagram, I guess I could put a little clip right here. I was having a very, very low day, and everything that I'm saying in this video is still true. Like, I have a hard time believing that I have worth. I have a hard time believing that I deserve good things. And that's probably been like one of my biggest hurdles through this. But here's the clip.
I wish I knew how deserving I am of good things. It's hard to believe it. Easy to preach about it and to tell other people, but it's hard to actually believe myself. And I know I'll pick myself back up tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day.
It was a real moment. I'm actually doing like a video journal for myself, a private video journal that I won't show anybody. And I can like openly express how I'm feeling out loud. I think making videos for myself just comes naturally because I've been doing this for a while. So I like having this, my own like video diary that I've been doing since before I left. And it's been really good to like just have a place where I can be completely honest with no judgment, you know, because I'm trying not to judge myself. Trying to just have grace and compassion with myself. So that was an answer that was very, very long-winded. The next question I was asked is, what's next for you? I have no idea. I'm still in that stage of trying to figure out what the F just happened. I'm still in a little bit of like shock, I guess you can say. It's hard for me to think about the future at all, like in any way possible, because it overwhelms me. And I'm trying to just stay present in the here and the now. Because I feel like when I'm able to just stay present and grounded in the now, it helps me thrive better and helps me make more clear decisions for the future. So I don't think it's going to be like this forever. I think there will be a point where I'm just like, I come up with a plan and I stick with it and I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. But I'm just not there yet. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I've thought about maybe going to school, but then I think about having student loans and I'm like, do I want that? Not really. And I've been working a lot with social media stuff. I've had a lot of campaigns and it's been awesome. So like I've had a ton of work and I don't really have the time to get another job. So I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what the future holds. I guess we'll see. We'll find out eventually. I would like to move out next year sometime, move out of my parents' house. And not because it's like not working here, because it's nothing like that. They've been awesome and so kind to me. And we get along great with them. You know, they love the kids love them. And it's been great because they've, you know, the kids have had so much support. They've had so many adults around them right now, like loving on them. And so it's genuinely been such a great thing for us to be here. But, you know, it would be nice to just like have my own space and to start over. I think it will really become very real when I'm on my own and making sure I pay all those bills on time and not relying on a man. It's bizarre because I've never had that in my life before. I literally went from being a teenager at my parents' house to being married. So I've never lived on my own before. And I think it'll be really good for me to like have that experience and to do that. So that's a goal. Another question I get a lot of is like, how are the kids doing? And I'm not just saying this, but they're actually doing really well. Considering everything, considering all the changes, they've done so well. And there's a few reasons why I think that is. Number one, my ex and I have made it a pact and a promise to each other that we will never bash each other in front of our children. Like never, ever, ever, ever. Even if I have to vent about something to my parents, I will not do it if the kids are in the room. Like that's an absolute no. So that has been the biggest thing. They've seen us respectfully talking to each other. We went trick-or-treating together on Halloween. You know, we still see each other every week. So we are doing everything in our power to make sure that that is never something that our kids have to endure. That's what makes divorce so traumatizing for kids, I think. So we're trying everything we can to not do that. But number two is continuously having open conversations with them where we ask questions and we ask how they're feeling. And both of my kids are extremely emotionally intelligent. Jude's teacher the other day was just like, I saw her at school after school and she was like, I just have to let you know, Jude is the most sensitive, sweet, loving boy ever. Like he is such a sweet kid, and he's so emotional and so sensitive, and I love that. And I'm like, me too, I love that. And I never want him to lose that, especially as a boy, you know, and as he turns into a man. Like I hope he always has that emotional, sensitive side to him, because we need more men like that. So that was just a side note. But yeah, they've been doing really, really well. And you know, whenever they have a concern, there's a few things that they've had some concerns about, and they will come to us and ask us. And I'm just so glad that they feel like they can have that safe place to talk to us. So I'm not saying that it's not hard at all for them. I'm sure it's hard for them. But they have been making the best out of it. Eden said something like, everything happens the way it's supposed to. And I'm just like, are you like a 50-year-old trapped in an 8-year-old's body? Sometimes I wonder with her, because she's just so wise. What's the hardest part about divorce is the next question. The change, the dynamic shift. Losing somebody that not only you love, but somebody that is your best friend in a lot of ways, you know. Not having that person that you can just like call whenever you want to talk about something, or if you're having a bad day, you can just be like, I'm having a crappy day today, and you can work through it together. Or I guess I would say those lonely days. There's a lot of really, really lonely days, and it's like, even though my family lives here with me and I'm around people, I'm around my friends, there's still just like this ache of loneliness. And I'm realizing that, you know, you can't fill that with relationships, especially romantic partnerships. Like, our partners are not meant to fill our loneliness for us. Only we can do that. So that's something I'm working through currently, in case I ever have another relationship. And then hopefully it'll have the best chance at success. Which brings me to my next question. When are you going to be dating again? I'd like to know when you'll date again. So define date. Define it. If you're talking about like boyfriend, girlfriend type of dating, I don't know. I don't see that happening in the near future, but I could be wrong. Now, at the same time though, I am trying to live my life in such a way where I am open to whatever is brought to me. I do not want to close off my heart or anything about myself to the world. Like, I want to live my life openly and freely. I want to be vulnerable. I don't want any of that to change about who I am. So I'm going to say that, like, I'm not going to set a timeline for that, because there's no use to doing that. Also, I think about my parents, and I'm not going to tell you their whole story because they probably don't want me to, but essentially they ended up meeting while my mom was going through a divorce from her first husband, and they connected like immediately. Like, they hit it off, and they were working together. So I think my mom was actually my dad's boss or something. Anyways, so something just kind of formed there. Neither of them saw it or had it on their radar, but it happened naturally. And so my mom wasn't divorced for long before she got remarried to my dad. And I'm not saying that I want that, because I definitely need some time, and marriage is something that I'm not sure how I feel about right now. But I'm telling you that story just to tell you that, like, you cannot control what happens when it comes to love. You can't control, like, who's gonna find you and when. And if my mom would have closed off my dad in that season of her life, she would have never had this beautiful connection with him. And, you know, they've been married for 32 years and they're still in love, and it's so sweet. You know, they have their crap just like anybody else, but they love each other. I get really emotional thinking about it. So yeah, I think of that story, and it's just like, you just never know when you're going to meet your person. So I don't want to live a life where I am not open to any of the doors that are opening for me, you know? As far as just like talking to guys casually, I don't see anything wrong with that. For me, I had one relationship prior to my ex-husband, and that was a very intense, very passionate relationship that I had all throughout high school. It was a very like long-term relationship. We were gonna get married and all of this stuff. So the only 2 relationships I've ever had in my life happened very quickly and they were very intense. And so now it's just like, I don't want intense. I don't want fast. I want slow. I want steady. I want stable. I just want things to happen as they should. I'm not in control of this and I'm not going to control it. So the next question is, do you still want another child or baby? I'm going to cry again. Ugh. This is how I'm calming myself. Yes, I absolutely do. I do. We had been trying for like 6 months to have a baby before our marriage dissolved. And so that is something that I don't really have closure on. It's hard. I'm very much grieving the 3rd baby that I never had. The 3rd baby that I was never pregnant with. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a real thing. So yeah, I definitely want more. I definitely want more kids. Definitely. And I've kind of made the decision, and I might change my mind later, but I've made the decision within myself that I'm probably going to adopt in the next few years if I don't meet another partner. Because I don't want to rob myself of the joy of having more kids if I don't have a partner present in my life. It's ideal that they have a dad. At the same time, it's like I have such a supportive, loving, kind family that will take them in, you know? And so it's like, yeah, I want another baby, but do I want to get married again? I don't know. I haven't heard any like divorced women talking about grieving the thought of having more kids. It's a real thing, and it makes me so sad. It makes me really, really sad. All right, this video is longer than I wanted it to be, so I'll just end it here. Thanks for sending in these questions. Hope that it gave you a better understanding of just like what I'm going through. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to like be vulnerable about this topic because I know it opens myself up to like opinions, and there's a lot of unwanted opinions out there when you do social media for a living. It's part of the game. It's part of what you do. But it's really hard when it's something that's so like touchy and sensitive, and I'm a very sensitive person naturally, but I'm extremely sensitive right now. So, but for those of you who have shown me love and support and kindness, thank you. I will never be able to repay you for that. I have felt every ounce of it. So I appreciate you guys a lot. And I think that this video will be interesting to look back on one day, because I know that this feels like the end in so many ways, but it's really the beginning of so many things. And I think there's going to be some big changes in my life and some exciting things in store. So I love you guys. Thanks for watching all the way until the end of this video. Hey, if you watched until the end, leave the secret emoji. I used to do this on my videos a lot, and I'm going to start doing it again because it helps me see like who my peeps are. I will see you guys in my next one.